390 million years ago, Earth was nothing like the world we know today. There were no birds in the sky, no mammals roaming the land, no flowers, no grass. The atmosphere was thicker, richer in carbon dioxide and poorer in oxygen. Continents were unrecognizable, slowly drifting, colliding, and tearing apart. In a vast tectonic dance that unfolded over hundreds of millions of years, life was still largely confined to the oceans. Yet during this distant age, a quiet but irreversible biological revolution began. For the first time in Earth's history, vertebrate predators started to step onto land. This period is known as the Devonian, spanning roughly from 419 to 359 million years ago, often called the Age of Fishes. The oceans were crowded with life. Locked in constant competition, jawless fish still survived, but they were increasingly overshadowed by more advanced forms. Heavily armored placoderms dominated many shallow seas. Early sharks emerged with flexible and efficient hunting strategies. But most significant of all was the rise of the lobe-finned fishes. The Sarcopterygians, creatures that carried within them the blueprint for life on land. While the seas flourished, the continents were no longer barren. Vascular plants had already appeared by the late Silurian, and during the Devonian they expanded dramatically. Primitive ferns, lycophytes, and early tree-like.
The
Plants such
relentless
as
growth
Archaeopteryx
of the
formed the
root
first
system
forests.
physically prized
Their
the
roots
bedrock
penetrated
apart,
rock and soil,
creating
reshaping
the very
landscapes,
soil
stabilizing
that will eventually
sediments, and creating
stabilize the
wetlands,
riverbank.
floodplains, and river deltas. These transitional environments, neither fully aquatic nor fully terrestrial, were unstable and unforgiving. Water levels fluctuated seasonally. Temperatures swung dramatically. Oxygen levels in stagnant pools often dropped to lethal lows. In such places, natural selection was ruthless. Survival demanded innovation. Lobe-finned fishes possessed a critical anatomical advantage. Unlike ray-finned fishes, whose fins were supported by thin bony rays,
The X-ray
lobe-finned fish
highlights
had
the
robust
humerus,
internal skeletons
radius,
within
and
their
ulna
fins.
equivalents.
These
Revealing
fins
how
contained a
these
single
ancient
large
fishes
bone connected to a
articulate their
series of
fins
smaller
with
bones and
surprising
joints.
fluidity.
Structures directly homologous to the upper arm, forearm, and wrist bones of later tetrapods. Originally, these fins did not evolve for walking. They allowed fish to maneuver through dense vegetation in shallow water, prop themselves against muddy bottoms, and pivot their bodies with control. But when water receded, these same fins became tools of survival. Respiration posed another major challenge. Many Devonian fishes living in oxygen-poor waters evolved air-filled sacs connected to the digestive tract. Initially used to control buoyancy, these structures became increasingly vascularized, enabling gas exchange. They were the evolutionary precursors of lungs. Modern lungfish preserved this ancient condition, offering a living window into deep time. During droughts or seasonal drying, individuals capable of breathing air gained a decisive advantage. They could survive in stagnant pools or even move short distances across wet ground in search of better conditions. With every such movement, the boundary between fish and land animal blurred further. One of the most important fossils ever discovered to illuminate this transition is Tiktaalik rosii. Dating to approximately 375 million years ago, Tiktaalik represents a remarkable mosaic of fish and tetrapod traits. It retained scales, gills, and fins, yet also possessed a mobile neck, a strengthened rib cage, and limb-like fins capable of bearing weight. Its ability to turn its head independently from its body was revolutionary, a crucial adaptation for hunting in shallow water and on land, where vision and spatial awareness became essential. Tiktaalik was not a true walker. It remained primarily aquatic, an ambush predator in shallow streams and tidal flats. But it could raise its head above water, brace its body against the substrate, and lunge at prey along the water's edge. It was testing a new way of life. Before vertebrates invaded the land, terrestrial ecosystems were dominated by arthropods. Giant sea scorpions, or eurypterids, some exceeding 2 meters in length, were apex predators. Armed with powerful claws and acute sensory systems, many species tolerated brackish water and occasionally ventured onto land. Alongside them lived early spiders, millipedes, and primitive insects, occupying nearly every available terrestrial niche. The first vertebrates to emerge onto land did not enter an empty world. They entered an ecosystem already shaped by predators. Competition drove rapid evolutionary change. Early tetrapods were not built for speed. Their bodies were heavy, their movements awkward. Instead, they relied on ambush, powerful jaws, and surprise. A single well-timed bite could determine survival. Acanthostega illustrates this experimental phase of evolution. It possessed limbs with 8 digits, demonstrating that the familiar 5-digit limb had not yet been standardized. Despite having limbs, Acanthostega remained largely aquatic, using its limbs more like paddles than legs. Ichthyostega represented a further step toward land. With stronger bones and more developed limbs, it could lift its body above ground for short periods. Its gait was likely slow and sprawling, more
The physics
reminiscent
are
of
clear.
a modern crocodile than a running animal.
Water displacement
Gravity
makes it
posed one of the
graceful.
greatest challenges
On land,
of terrestrial
gravity
life.
and the compression of the
In
thick
water,
mud
buoyancy
make movement
supported body
heavy
weight.
and clumsy.
On land, skeletal and muscular systems had to bear the full load. This required profound reorganization. Vertebral columns became stronger and more segmented. Pelvic girdles expanded and fused with the spine, allowing efficient transfer of force from limbs to body. Breathing air demanded further physiological innovation. Lungs needed active ventilation. Rib movements and muscular contractions began to assist respiration. Circulatory systems adapted to transport oxygen efficiently. Under new pressures, skin presented another vulnerability. Aquatic animals are protected from dehydration, but on land, water loss is constant. Early tetrapods had thin, permeable skin, restricting them to moist environments and limiting their activity to cooler periods. Hearing also required reinvention. Sound travels differently in air than in water. Bones once used for feeding and gill support gradually transformed into components of the middle ear, enabling detection of airborne vibrations. As sensory systems improved, hunting behavior became more sophisticated. These early predators did not rely on long-distance vision or pursuit. Instead, they detected movement and vibration, striking at close range with devastating effectiveness. The arrival of vertebrate predators on land reshaped entire ecosystems. Arthropods evolved thicker armor, potent venoms, and chemical defenses. An evolutionary arms race was underway, accelerating diversification. Plants were affected as well. The movement of tetrapods disturbed soil, aided spore dispersal, and enriched substrates with nutrients. Forests became more complex, generating layered habitats and new ecological opportunities. The Devonian climate was unstable. Warm periods alternated with cooling events. Sea levels rose and fell dramatically. These fluctuations triggered repeated ecological crises, eliminating species unable to adapt. Near the end of the Devonian, Earth experienced one of its major mass extinctions. Coral reefs collapsed. Many marine lineages vanished. Yet early tetrapods, capable of exploiting both water and land, gained an unexpected advantage.
The
Flexibility meant
to
survival.
land
In the aftermath,
necessitated
terrestrial predators
stronger
continued to evolve.
appendages.
Limbs strengthened.
This
Digit number stabilized at
visualization
5.
highlights
Jaws diversified with specialized teeth. Nervous systems expanded, enabling increasingly complex behaviors. From these pioneers arose amphibians, then reptiles with protective eggs, freeing life from dependence on water. From them came dinosaurs, birds, and mammals. Every apex predator on land today traces its ancestry back to these first hesitant steps. Fossils are not merely stone. They are records of experimentation, failure, and success written in bone. Each transitional form captures a moment in a long struggle against gravity, desiccation, and unfamiliar air. The first predators to walk on land did not seek conquest. They adapted, moment by moment, to survive. Yet through those adaptations, they transformed the planet. When we walk across solid ground, breathe oxygen-rich air, and scan our surroundings with forward-facing eyes, we are inheriting a legacy that began 390 million years ago. The conquest of land was not a single event. It was a prolonged journey marked by risk, extinction, and resilience. A new world was born.